Welcome all. Today in building services class, we will get to know about the piping systems. So first of all, what is a piping system? So piping system is nothing but the networks of pipes, fittings and the valves that carries or transfer fluid from one piece of the equipment to the another. That is carrying the water from one place to the other. So that will be comprised of the pipes and also the fittings too in order to fit the pipes and also valves to control the flow of the water through the pipes. So the pipes, fittings and valves combinedly known as the piping systems in order to carry or transfer the fluids. So it is generally understood to include every interconnected in line component, that is pipes, fittings and flanges, that is, and also with the associated equipments. So the everyday example includes the piping network supplying water to your home is a common example of the piping system. And in terms of piping components, that is pumps, heat exchangers, valves and tanks are also considered a part of the piping systems and also not the just pipe itself. And the purpose of the piping system is to carry or the transfer fluid such as the water, steam, oil, air or other process chemicals safely between the equipments. So this is what about the basic understanding of the piping system. Next is about the components of the piping system, which is that is pipe, pipe fittings and valves. These are the main components of the piping systems. So pipes, so is nothing but the long cylinder that carry or transfer the fluid. So commonly water, air, steams, air, milk, paint or the juices. Less common examples also include the pulp, acid, alkalis and also the chemicals. And next component is the piping system, which is used to connect the length of the pipe into a complete system. There is flanges, elbows, tees, reducers, expansion blows and also the similar other components. Then next is about the valves, so which is used to regulate or control the flow. So use it to stop or divert or control the fluid flow. So some examples of valves are gate valves, globe valves, butterfly valves, ball valves, control valves. So the selection of these valves depends upon its function and its application. Next, the common types of valves which is used in the piping systems. First one is the gate valve, other one is the globe valve, butterfly valve, ball valve and the control valve. So in terms of gate valve, it is a simple on and off shut off using a sliding gate. So it is not ideal for the throttling flows. And in terms of the globe valve, it is good throttling control, which is via disc moving onto a seat. Then it is a higher pressure drop. Then the butterfly valve, compact quarter turn disc valve. It will be of lightweight, quick to operate and also good for the large pipes. In terms of ball valve, quarter turn valve using a ball, that is a tight shut off and the fast operation. Next is about the control valve, which is automatically adjust the flow, pressure or level in response to the control signals. Next is about the jointing methods, that is method of connecting pipes. So there are three general methods used to join or connect the length of the pressure pipings. Then each has the advantage and also the disadvantage that makes it suited to particular sizes, pressure and also the site conditions. In that, the first one is the screwed connection, second one is the flanged connection and third one is the welded joints. So in terms of screwed connection, the threaded pipe ends joined with the screwed fittings. So it will be easy to assemble and also disassemble and also best for it will be more suitable for the smaller pipes. That is nothing but the threaded pipes will be joined by using the screw fittings. That is what the screwed connections. Next is about the flanged connections. That is bolted flange faces with a gasket in between them. So which allows the disassembly and used across the wide size ranges also. Then in terms of welded connection, so pipe lines welded directly together. So it will be strongest and it will be leak free, but permanent and needs a skilled welder. and it is not easy to disassemble quickly. The first jointing method, which is the screwed connection. So the threads are cut on each end of the pipes and screwed fittings such as the unions or couplings and the elbow join the lengths together. So this method is generally used for the pipe sizes which is below 101.6 mm, that is a 4" at low to moderate pressures. So its advantages include can be easily assembled and disassembled. So no special skills such as the weldings are required, and it is economical for the small bore low pressure lines. Whereas the disadvantages are threader joints are more it is very more susceptible to leakage, and the cutting threads reduces the wall strength of the pipe and not suitable for the large diameters and the high pressures. Next jointing method is the flanged connections, that is flanges at the pipe ends or bolted together face to face, usually with a gasket in between. So this picture shows the two flanged pipes which is joined together. Then because the grinding flange faces are perfectly flat is slow and costly, and a soft gasket is used instead. So it fills the small surface depressions and prevent leakages when the joint is tightened. So these advantages include the permit a disassembly like the screwed joints, more convenient to assemble disassemble than the threaded joints, especially at the larger sizes, and suitable across the wide range of the pipe sizes and also pressures. Then, whereas the key requirement for the flanged connections are the flanges must butt together tightly, and the grinding phases perfectly flat as possible, but time consuming and expensive. A soft gasket between the faces is the practical solution to seal small surface depressions. Next jointing method is the welded connection. That is the pipe lines are welded directly to one another and directly to any walls or the fitting required. So producing a continuous permanent leak tight joint. So this picture shows the example of the welded connection. So these advantages include the leakage risk is removed since the screwed or the flange joints are eliminated. In terms of welding, it will be strong, so the leakage will be less. The system weight is reduced, so no bulky connect, connecting flanges or the fittings, and materials and maintenance cost are lower with the fewer flanges or the fittings, and neater appearance and easy to insulate without bulky fittings, and greater design flexibility. Pipes can be joined at virtually any angles. Whereas the disadvantages include it requires the skilled welder for every connections made, and the joint is permanent. It cannot be disassembled for the maintenance without cutting it. So next comes the comparison of the different jointing methods, that is the screwed connection, flanged connection, and also the welded connections. Here are some parameters or the criterion to compare these three methods. So the first criteria is the typical size limit, whereas in screwed connection it should be less than 101.6 mm, which is of the 4". Whereas in flanged connection, the wide range of size can be used, and also in welded connection, the wide range of size can be used. Next criteria is the disassembly. So in terms of screwed connection, it is very easy to assemble and disassemble. Whereas in flanged connection, it is possible to unbolt, and whereas in welded connection, it is not, the disassembly is not possible easily without breaking it. Next parameter or the criterion is the leak risk. So in terms of screwed connection, the leak risk is very high, and in terms of flanged connection, it is the low with the, in case if it is provided with the gasket. In terms in the welded connection, it will be the lowest. Then the in terms of requiring the skills, uh, whereas in the screw connection, the less skill is low skill is required. In terms of flanged connection, moderate skill is required. In terms of welded connection, so it requires the skilled welders in order to fix it. Next, in terms of the relative weight or the cost, in terms of screwed connection it is low, and in terms of flanged connection it is higher, and in terms of welded connection it is based upon the material used. So it is lowest material used. then it is more suitable where the different joints are more suitable. It is best in terms of screwed connection, it is best suited for the small low pressure lines, and flashed connection is it is best suited for lines needing a periodic dismantling, and in terms of welded connection it is best suited for permanently high integrity lines. So this is about the comparison of the different jointing methods. Next is about the piping supports. The piping must be supported so that it own weight is never carried by the equipment it connects to. The support prevents the excessive sagging while still allowing the pipe to move freely as it expands or contracts. So there are different types of supports, rigid support and the spring support. In terms of rigid support, it restricts the pipe movement in one or more directions with little or no flexibility allowed in those directions, used where the pipe run must stay fixed in the positions. And in terms of the spring system, supports the pipe's weight while still permitting the simultaneous movement. So essential where the thermal expansion and contraction must be also accommodated. So these are the two different types of the piping supports, that is the rigid support and the spring support. Next is about the pipe insulations. So why this insulation matters? So most piping system carry substances at the temperature very different from the surrounding air. For example, the main steam and the feed water pipings. And also insulation is applied to manage this pressure difference safely and also efficiently. So it is categorized into two types, for hot piping and for cold piping. For hot piping, reduces the heat lost from the hot lines to the surrounding air and keeping the process efficient, and prevent the inside of the process buildings from the becoming the uncomfortably hot, and prevents injury from the accidental contact with the bare or hot pipe surfaces. And in terms of the for the cold pipings, on cold lines, and insulation prevents the pipe surface from sweating and stops the condensed moisture from dripping onto equipments, floors or the ceiling below. Then limits moisture contact with the pipe surface and reducing the external corrosion. Next is about the characteristics of the good insulating materials. So it should be of high insulating value, then long life, vermin proof and non-corrosive, retain shape and value when wet, and easy to apply and install. So in terms of high insulating walls, so providing strong resistance to heat flow per unit thickness, and long life, retains its performance over years of service without degrading, and vermin proof, resists damage or nesting by the insects and the rodents, and non-corrosive, that is does not chemically attack the pipe material it covers. Then retain shape and wall when wet, continues to insulate effectively even if it becomes damp, and easy to apply and install, can be cut, fitted and finished quickly on site. So there are the different pipe insulating materials, which is and also the its maximum service temperature according to the materials. So in terms of diatomaceous silica, that is bond with the clay and asbestos, it is the maximum service temperature of the material is 1030 degrees Celsius, and asbestos, it is molded pipe covering sections used up to 650 degrees Celsius, and calcium silicate, so it is made from the silica and lime, and it can be used up to the 650 degrees Celsius, and cellular glass, which is a foamed molded glass, and it can be used up to 430 degree Celsius. And magnesia, there is a 85 percentage magnesium carbonate with the asbestos fiber, which can be used the maximum service temperature of up to 315 degrees Celsius, and the glass fiber, it is processed glass fibers in the pipe covering forms, so it can be used up to 190 degrees Celsius, and plastic foams, that is foamed plastic, used from as low as 170 degrees Celsius to 120 degrees Celsius. So these are the different materials which is used for the pipe insulating and also its maximum service temperature according to it. Thank you.